Hey, today we have with us Marco from
You don't even know the company name? Oh, man. You need one of those teleprompters.
Today we have Marco from Culture Club. Is that right?
Not right at all. It's clean culture.
It's what clean culture.
Yeah.
Today we have with us. Why are you laughing? All right, Marco, clean culture.
Yeah.
What's the MDS stand for? I don't even know.
Mobile detail shop.
Mobile detailing shop. Detail or detailing shop?
Detail shop.
Mobile. Okay, Marco with clean
Everyone
culture.
just calls me clean culture.
Clean
That's
culture
what
is in the house.
They just dropped them, you know.
Dropping any new songs lately, clean culture?
No, nothing in the works right now. You know, all this COVID stuff really slows production down, but
All right, sounds good.
we're still doing our polishing thing.
Hey, so like, is polishing? I mean, it's like, can you tell? I mean, is your style of polishing different than another polisher's? I mean, is it like really that kind of an art that like everybody's like almost like you're like this is like everybody's a chef. They make that dish. It just tastes slightly different from person to person.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody. I mean they always have that saying that there's many ways to skin a cat. You know, and you're at the end of the result, we're all looking for the same result. There's just different ways to get there. Other people are okay with some results. Some people aren't. There's different ways to approach it. Whether you resurfacing that metal, sanding it down to get your shine that way.
Sure.
I was fortunate to learn like I said, from different people across the country that ran into kind of the rougher stuff. So I tend to lean more towards the resurfacing of metal, but yeah, I mean, depending on products.
Meaning you'll do more sanding, more prep work?
Yes, to kind of get that more flatter surface to get that with that shine.
Yeah, and my understanding, and I'm not a polisher obviously, but my understanding is like the prep work is really key to a successful finish on the back end of it.
Yeah. I mean, the more you can do in your setup, you're setting yourself up for an easier finish. So
yeah, totally. No, I've seen some talking about the prep portion of it. I am a big fan of obviously sanding before you do any buffing at all. And I've had customers over the years ask, well, how hard can you make a buff? Can you dip it and make it almost like a grinding wheel or something like that? And like my reply is always like, man, like if you've done your prep work properly, you don't need that kind of a product. What's your professional take on it? Am I right on that? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean the flatter that you could always start with that surface, so removing defects, sanding is gonna do all that. Whether it's pitting, scratches, anything that you're gonna do, you're gonna always start with new metal, obviously. So anytime that you're able to start from that point, you're gonna get a better finish. Whether versus trying to use like a treated buffs and trying to get hash marks off of that, you're running into maybe a few more different steps that you've created for yourself.
You're almost like
creating more work for yourself if you go with like a treated buff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, but if you're really on point with your prep work, then you're going to be successful.
Is it that those guys and gals out there using those much harder dip buffs are they the ones trying to basically shortcut it because of I don't want to do any sanding, and I'm thinking if I just put this hard buff on here, it'll grind away for me?
It is that, and then I mean, a part of it, what it is today is in the industry, especially out here in this kind of area, it's flooded with polishers at the moment. So there is a lot of people trying to take those shortcuts and trying to cut down their times.
Okay.
With the newfound competition.
You're saying there's a bunch of there's some cutthroating going on right there right now. Like what's the environment like in SoCal?
I mean, there's like I said, there's always going to be competition in every industry that you do it.
Definitely.
It's always important to kind of go about it the right way. So, I mean, no knock on anyone's finish or anything like that. We're all out here trying to make a living, but it makes it hard for some of the people that actually do this job legitimately. When you got some companies out there turning out weekend polishers, with some training courses and stuff like that. So it makes it hard.
It makes it hard. Is it one of those things where like I know there are, like you said, some people that are getting into the game new, and obviously for sure we don't want to malign anybody's desire to be successful polishing, without a doubt, but it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, this looks interesting, let me try it, and just like within a 6-month time period, like very few of those actually like go past that initial handful of months of commitment to the trade.
There's always levels to it. There's people that are genuinely just in it trying to get their, if they own a set of billet wheels, and maybe they just want to do the weekend thing and have their wheels clean, which, there's kits for that you can, probably get and stuff like
you're
that.
Talking about the owner, like you're talking about like
your regular owner operator,
your
stuff
owner,
like that.
Yeah, because we make several kits obviously for the do-it-yourselfer, as we call it.
Right. But for the average guy that's trying to pick this up and trying to
as a trade, as a business,
get in the industry, I mean, you're really gonna find out in the first week or so if it's for you or not. There's really not a tough way around it. Is around kind of getting into it. It's really doing the work.
Hey, so like when the first time you picked up that grinder and started polishing, was it like love at first sight or very close to that, or did it take you a little while to warm up to this thing and like, okay, it's like not exactly what I want to do, but I see some economic benefit to doing this and participating in the trade. What was that like for you?
It was generally just interested, just being interested in because I had already done some research on YouTube videos and stuff like that, and seeing it in action, I was really just kind of see if it's something that I was gonna be able to do myself. So once I did kind of see that the metal changed right in front of my eyes, and that's all it really took, to be honest.
That's always exciting, definitely. Seeing that metal transformation is just incredible.
Right. So, and then like I said, just for someone like me, never had picked a machine up before, it's really a big deal for your confidence to kind of get the first one out of the way, get your technique established.
For sure. What do you like more, aluminum or stainless?
Man, that's a tough call. Really? I like them both. Aluminum's a little easier to work with.
A little more forgiving, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, you can't beat the shine off stainless.
You get that stainless finish.
Yeah, when you get that, and when it's done right, because they all have their.
It's like a work of art.
Right. So it's no beating the shine, And
so do you fall into the trap of like being overly, like being too much of a perfectionist sometimes? I mean, it's
always.
I've been in this trade like I said for a long time, and there's no way I'll ever have the keen eye for a finish that an actual polisher will have. I mean, it's like that's one of the things that really was very difficult for me in the industrial trade. It's like it's like I was like, well, how bright is bright? It's a very subjective comment to look like, well, that's bright, or it's like it could be brighter. How do you decide?
Well, it's really where the experience factor really comes into play on that. Is a newer polisher's not going to see the same shine as a guy that's been doing it for 20 years.
Sure.
But if you really know what to look for, you'll know when a piece is kind of done right and is at its brightest.
All right, so that gets back to then basically, the value of your time. Like, okay, so you can spend a lot of time getting that wheel or that tank to where you want it to be, but I mean, does your customer always know that it's like it's there, or it could be better, or it's like what's your take? What's your typical customer say to you on that?
You know what? It's kind of a difficult question to ask, but the way that I'll kind of answer it is this: clients think that they're always used to a certain finish or what a certain expectation. You come in there and leave behind a certain finish of the way that it's supposed to be, taking the right steps and everything, and you are able to kind of surpass their expectation. Then your job is to kind of educate, the client of to what a real good, good finish is supposed to look like.
Gotcha. Okay, so your customer having come off maybe a hurried job or a job that wasn't done completely correctly, and once you go in there and make those corrections and do the correct prep work and do the right polishing, you're saying most times the customer was like, yeah, you know what, I do see a difference in that.
Yeah, so I get a lot of clients of mine that pay X amount of dollars for a polish, and at the end they're not happy with it. And it's because they're going to a lot of these places like truck washes, where it's just a quickie. They call it the shine and go in my industry. So kind of get you in and out. So that client is always used to that B level of shine, never having met that top tier.
That's one of those
shine.
you get what you pay for type
So yeah, once you kind of make that decision to pay someone for that type of service, because it is pretty expensive, and truckers don't need that to get down the road to deliver their freight.
Right, they don't need to be shiny. That's more like a function
It's
of
a
like pride of
luxury.
ownership.
It's definitely a luxury. So if you kind of understand that and you give a little bit more effort, it translates into your shine. And clients appreciate that.
Yeah, no, totally. And you bring up a good point. Like, what even compels a trucker to care? Like, why do they care that it's got to be brighter? Or why do they care? Like, hey, I'm just like taking stuff back and forth. It's like, like if we have a lot of trucks that come in and out of this facility, picking up and dropping off. And just because we're in the trade, sometimes when I'm outside into the truck, I'll just kind of look at what's going on here. But I would imagine most of the companies receiving and sending goods don't really look. I mean, yes, there's a certain level for cleanliness. Obviously, you want a good clean vehicle is I believe a representation of the owner operator or the company. It's like if they're taking care of their vehicles, hopefully they're taking care of the freight going in and out as well.
Right.
But why do the truckers care so much about how good they look?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons that come into play with that. A lot of the main reasons I can tell you is it's their sense of pride when they're in that truck. Their chrome, and that comes from an old school way of trucking. Also, if your chrome's on point, then the rest of your truck mechanically, your cab is also looking the same. So if you take the time to take care of your chrome like that, then you have pride of the way that you truck.
Is that primarily limited to just the owner operator as opposed to some of the fleet services?
That's just a way of thinking, that you, whether you're a company driver, you own your truck, or you're in the industry. That applies. That take pride of your ride is real serious.
They don't really apply to like a FedEx truck rolling by or something like that. I would imagine those guys, it's a whole different thing with those. They just want to be clean, like no mud, no junk. But I don't think they really particularly care about finishes on the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for more, it's just A to B, for them type of more. Yeah. But the owner operators take it a little bit more serious.
Sure.
Yeah, and then for 1, 2 is for the company drivers. What it matters is, say for example they're hauling food or something. That presentation matters a lot. Say they're at a drive-through, a client's at a drive-through, and they see their trucks, all raggedy, run down, and dirty, you're probably not going to want to get there.
Yeah, no, totally. So, I mean, I'll see vehicles rolling down the freeway, and I'll look at a clean one. It looks really sharp. It looks really, like the colors. I'm in the trade a little bit, but it definitely does make a difference. And I think that's really one of the reasons why, to me, it's not any different than maybe the individual that has his or her own, car or pickup or lifted or lowered or lowrider. Basically, it's the pride of ownership and wanting to maintain that cleanliness and that presentation that really drives this industry forward. And the ground level is always the polishing and the detailing that goes into maintaining these really large vehicles. I mean, it's not like it's easy to clean and wash those things.
Oh yeah, you want to for sure look your best at fuel station. When you're pulling up to all the people that you normally run into, and they see that your chrome is really dialed out, then that's a big deal.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I want to ask you about product without looking necessarily for a plug on Renegade products or anything of that nature. But I look at you've got a certain trade. Mm-hmm. You're a polisher, among other things, but let's just focus on the polishing for a moment. And I look at it kind of like I always like to use the baking the cake method. It's like you're a master chef and you can bake a great cake with the ingredients in front of you, But do the ingredients, the quality of the ingredients, how important are they to you as a polisher? I mean, does that make a difference, or can you tell, between at the ultimate end of it, on your finish, can you tell whether that product really helped you or didn't help you at all?
Yeah, there's because the way that the industry is nowadays, there's been a lot of advancement in it, and trying to get some of these products a little bit more user friendly, so a little bit easier to use. So, you're not gonna really get that out of, like, for say a over the counter product that you would find like at a normal autos or something just down the street. You go buy your metal polish like that, versus like a professional grade product that's made specifically for that purpose. Obviously you're gonna cut down time, and then the end result as far as the final finish on that is gonna be a lot brighter.
Right, and for those of you out there that don't know, like, polishing compounds are. I mean, it's just like it really is like chocolate or any type of food. It's like the higher the quality of the ingredients in there, the better it's going to be for you. I mean, we can feel it. There are some chocolates that taste great because they've got great cocoa and they've got great butters and fats and whatever else they put in them. And there are some that are just primarily just filler, like just sugar and junk that just don't really add to any of the flavor and the taste. And the compounds are no different. The liquids that we make are no different, really. We feel that it costs us a bit more, obviously, to put the higher end ingredients in those products, along with the phenomenal packaging, if I do say so myself. But I think at the end of the day, hopefully, more consumers and professionals, more often than not, will say, yeah, this is definitely something that's going to help my life and make my life easier and better and give me the performance I want.
I think that where it kind of does a great job, well, especially here, like at Renegade, that we guys done over the few years, at least as far as I've been, is he has done a great job of kind of bridging that gap from professional to kind of user. As that's kind of saying that a professional can pick up a buffer or liquid polish and get the same results as a novice user. That says a lot towards your product, and what kind of ingredients are in there.
We try to, our background is industrial manufacturing and industrial polishing, so we're able to take some of that, what consider very high-end manufacturing expertise and knowledge and filter it on down to whether it's on the professional grade, which is very similar to the industrial polishing, in my opinion, what you do as a professional. But it's getting the right product into the do-it-yourself or the weekend guy or gal that wants to take care of his or her own vehicle. That's important to us, that they're able to achieve at least it may not be a finish like a professional's finish, but at least they're not struggling with poor quality product that's making that experience a lot less enjoyable.
Right.
So I want to ask you, let's talk about buffs are buffs. There are several companies that make great buffs in this industry, but it's really some of the compounds that really, there's a lot of difference in these compounds out there. It's like everybody's got their own formula, their own way of cooking them and making them and blending them, and and especially on the back end, some guys and gals, they like the white bar for finishing, and some like the blue, and now we introduced the purple about a year or two ago, and people love the purple. So where are you on that whole spectrum? It's like, well, what do you do on the back end that makes your stuff, without giving away any trade secrets, of course?
Right.
What makes your stuff what's the signature Marco look?
I'm gonna just be back to the basics type of guy. Mm-hmm. My finish, the way that I get my finish really starts with my cut.
Yes.
And the brown bar that I kind of use, I prefer the T88 bar versus to a lot of the bars that are in the market. I've had a chance to test, and try a lot of them, just because I'm always a guy that likes to learn. But I like it because it's aggressive enough to where it's going to get sand marks out, but also, fine enough to where it's going to give you a good cut, without sanding.
Now, our T88 has the advantage over some other triple E bars in the market in that it's got it's kind of like a blended bar, so you can actually, we call it, even though it's a cut bar, we actually do call it a cutting color. There's some color aspect to it, I think, that helps in the secondary. If you're going to green, that helps. I think the helps you in the green process. The green buffing end of it, the brightening end of it. But we also played around with a bar like a year ago, which actually is on our website, called the T121. We had gotten some feedback over the years that, yeah, we love the T88, but man, it's like some of those summer months where it's just so humid, and especially in the south and the southeast, they just wanted something a little bit drier. So we played around with something. We introduced it, actually. It was a T121. Do you remember playing around with that one?
Yeah, I had a chance to do the testing before it came out on it, and I love the bar, for
yeah, that's a drier, higher cutting or faster cutting bar, I guess I would say.
Yeah, so I mean, I also go different parts of the country to kind of handle some accounts. So It's always nice to have something in your arsenal to where you can kind of revert back to.
Swap out depending on
right. So I love the bar though. Like for anyone out, towards the East Coast part of the country, I definitely highly recommend it.
Yeah. That's why really why it's actually one of our OG industrial bars that we sell into industrial polishing. That's when we took it into the trade to address the high humidity content that people were struggling with. And then you go to obviously green after that.
So depending on the situation, I'll go and follow that back up with the green. Make my way up. The way that I kind of make my process a little bit different from when I'm doing my cutting. I'll angle my buff a little bit more on the vertical side to change my lines a little bit. And that helps kind of get rid of the harsher, lines from the previous buff. And also a good tip to use it kind of is do a light polish in between that to get rid of your
hand polish.
Yeah, hand polish with some liquid to get rid of some of the previous bar. You avoid cross contamination after.
I know some guys out there use like diesel or gas or some kind of solvent or something in between. What's your take on that?
I advise a little bit against it. I mean, there's guys that are kind of gonna use it or just quick, kind of get by. But
What's
the reason why
do they do that? I'm just curious. Like, are they trying to strip the oils from the compound that's left over?
Yeah, so sometimes when the compound kind of dries up and hardens, it gets into kind of the imperfections. If you didn't sand or something, the compound will tend to jam in there.
It'll jam into those crevices.
So
and those holes.
It'll be used as a lubricant to kind of remove any of that residue left behind by the compound.
Is that a function of like, do you eliminate really that need if you've done your prepping properly or sanding?
Yeah, so if you sanded that flat all the way, then you don't have any of those issues of the compound jamming.
How far do you go usually on the sanding? You need to go above like 600 at all or 400?
Usually like a good 400 will get it. Like I said, with these bars are a little bit more aggressive than some of the ones in the industry. So, which is good because, like I said, you always want to avoid your time in between. So I mean, you can definitely get any of the marks out with the brown bar at 400.
Yeah, and that's always been our policy. Also, it's sanding up to about 400. I think should be enough. And I'm always like surprised.
You can go a little bit, above it if you're maybe struggling to get some of those marks out. Right. You want to refine those 400 marks a little bit. You can take it up to 6. I mean, I know some guys that take their stainless up to a pretty high number too.
Yeah.
So
that's very true.
Just depend on the situation.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that obviously with the right buff and especially the right cutting bar, that sanding is. I mean, it's obviously going to help you, but that's also it's not only time consuming, but like those 400 grit or 600 grit, man, you're going through discs you're eating
that it'll eat them up.
15, 20 cents a piece. You're just basically throwing money away every
single time. Right. So you can over sand some pieces
totally,
because the bars are they'll do what they're designed to do at 400
Yes,
already.
exactly. So if you get, I think, the right bar and the right buff together, I think that should really, rarely do you need to go above 400. And I totally agree with that. Hey, so can you tell as an artist, can you look at, or is it too difficult once a piece has been finished? Can you look at it and say, oh, that's Peter Williams' finish, or that's, so-and-so's finish, something like that? Or
Yeah, I mean, different polishers have
like a
different
signature look,
tendencies.
yeah?
They have different tendencies of how they like to do. So if you stick around, the industry enough, if you hit enough of these shows and you see some of these other guys
Right.
work versus what you kind of put up, you do kind of tend to notice those tendencies, which is not bad. Like I said, everybody approaches their shine a little different,
Sure.
and no one's wrong. Like I said, you don't really go out there to kind of compete with other guys like that, but you
No,
just
it's just
appreciate
basically
being
an
there,
appreciation
but
of like, oh, this fit. It's like,
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I can tell that's. I mean, the work is great, but it was just funny that you can almost see a signature look in each person's
yeah.
finish. It's just really strange, like because you're like, oh, it's just polished aluminum or it's just polished stainless, but when you take a closer look at it, you go, I know that's this person's finish or that person's finish. Just really strange, just from looking at how that finish presents itself. So are you just mobile in SoCal? Do you go around the country? How do you handle your business right now?
I do. I have a few out-of-state accounts that I do up in Seattle area,
Oh,
and
so
then
you-
out in Texas as well.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you do get some ugly trucks that you take care of. Well, not ugly, but
Yeah.
ugly as far as like all the some of the more severe weather environments. I know a lot of people like around the country uh, tend to envy our great weather here in Southern California. And
Yeah.
obviously we don't we've had a drought for the last, as long as I've been in California here for 50 years. It's been like I can't think of a year where they didn't say the word drought. So it's
Right.
always dry, and that obviously helps a little bit. But at the same time, that's not to say you can't apply yourself to some of those vehicles that I've seen snow and salt and sleet and all that kind of
No,
junk.
and actually, I think if anything, I kind of see that as an advantage for myself because I'm willing to kind of do those jobs, and seeing some of that rougher work
Yeah.
kind of helps me when I kind of come back home and see all these pavement princesses out on the road, and I have to polish those. So
Right.
I'm ready for anything,
Ready for
and
it
I don't
all.
really
Oh,
shy
that's
shy
awesome.
away from a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. So for those of you that don't know, Mark will be joining us at Mid America. He's going to be hanging out at the booth. And that's something you wanted to go to for a while, I would imagine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Tell us
There's a
tell us
few
about that.
There's a few shows, like I said, that I have in the works this year, a few out of state with you guys. So I'm excited about that. But Matt's is going to be the first one out there. And just to kind of get a different feel of what truck shows are a little bit, out of California. I haven't had a real opportunity to attend one out of California.
This is going to be you're going really, talk about truck show that's out of California. This is like the premier show, in my opinion. Probably Matt's and SEMA are probably the two most important shows for us. And I love SEMA, but so much of what we do is in the big rig world and the heavy equipment world that really Matt's is important wise. Maybe not as big as SEMA for us, but scope of but time that is. But man, it is probably the most important show all year long for us. And it's a very formal show. And so the truckers are getting in there on over the weekend, Sunday, Monday, and they are just, man, those guys and gals are just cleaning, and just doing everything they need to do before rags down and the judging starts. So it's a very stressful environment.
Right. I heard it's very white glove. So
Yeah.
So
The judges are very keen on, cleanliness is a big part of the points category. And that's why there's so much attention given to cleaning during the preparation for judging, and obviously that makes it a very important show for us because when a company that makes polishing and cleaning products like we do obviously wants to be very involved in that scene. So we'll be there definitely, not only on the trade show aspect of it on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but we'll be there ahead of time also to give at least some emotional support to our people out there and the truckers. And if they need product, we'll have product, of course, at the show. And we're looking forward to having you there. Good, always great. Unlike many trade shows, SEMA, for example, is strictly a trade show. It's just for the trade. There's very little, if any, retail that goes on. Actually, you're prohibited at SEMA from selling product. It's for display only. But MATS is kind of like a hybrid. It is a trade show, but it's also open to the public. So you have a lot of guys and gals walking through and not only getting a chance to view the incredible vehicles in at both the PKY championship, and there's another one called the NAS, which is the, I think, North American Truck Show, or a show truck circuit or something. I forget the exact name of it. And they'll be out there also. So there'll be one section that's PK1, the other one will be NAST. So there's really two judging shows going on at the same time. Okay. NAST will be limited, I think, to 15 super high-end show trucks, only bobtails, that is, I think. We're sponsors of that. We're also sponsors of the PKY. So obviously, it's a big deal for us. And many of the people rolling through, are, like you said, do-it-yourselfers. Whether they're, truck drivers or people at home wanting to polish their billet wheels or anything like that. Mm-hmm. That's where I think it's great to have a professional like yourself there during the course of that week, being able to encourage and give tips and tricks to all those people.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly like what my kind of bread and butter is. I do this every day, so me being able to kind of go in there and provide some of the more technical support to some of the questions you guys get is really where I'm kind of excited to kind of be part of it.
Yeah, and it's definitely one thing, whether it's us or any of our friendly competitors that are there supplying product. We may know the chemistry and the technology, but it's a whole different thing when you've got a professional there. I know some of the other people in this, like I think Kevin from Texas Premier will be there. You're going to be there. A couple other people will be there. Whether you're working with us on our behalf, or Kevin's with somebody else. I think at the end of the day, it's the community of polishers that really is there to. Yes, are we supporting our products? Yeah, without a doubt. But we're also supporting the community. I think that's the one thing that I want people out there to make sure they understand. It's not about product versus product. In that particular environment, I think it's more a community aspect, and being able to provide the resources, no matter what end of the spectrum you're on, to those guys and gals that want to just take care of their truck.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just maybe a few knuckleheads or something like that, maybe pushing that kind of storyline. Yeah. Like I said, it's not everybody. The ones that really care about the industry, like myself, will always kind of meet at these truck shows and kind of convene or have a beer together or something like that, totally. Because we in the end have the same goal, which is to provide the best for our polishing industry. So
yeah, for sure. So so all you guys and gals out there, make sure you stop by our booth. You'll find Marco there, and he'll announce as we get closer to the show what his booth hours are, and you'll also catch him milling around, enjoying some of the beautiful rigs out there, and also some of the other exhibitors. It's a huge show, so I think you'll.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah. What's the other show? I know. Have you been to SEMA with us? I can't remember. You went.
We went a few years ago. 19, yeah, right before the whole COVID thing. Yeah, when they were actually letting people in. So
did you stay for the show itself? I can't. Because I know you.
No, I didn't actually attend the show. We did some of the. We provided some of the polishing, I think, washing right up until the show for some guys that needed it out there. So we caught some of the environment, some people that were there early. So I think this year we're actually going to attend the show So it'll be a completely different feel to versus working
All
the
right,
show.
cool.
So believe it or not, I've already started taking SEMA vehicles
Wow, already? No
the week
kidding.
before. So I'm actually gonna be sending all my work before, doing all my work up until the show, and then so I have time to network and attend. And
Hey, so for you people out there, yes, we've been talking big rigs with Marco, but I mean, he's not just a big rig guy. Tell us what other stuff you do other than the rigs.
Yeah, so I mean, we like I said, our finish is pretty well known in the big rig industry, but we also offer polishing for the billet and forge wheel industry as well. So anybody that's running out there, those deep dish rims or on those lifted
Right.
trucks,
Yeah, for sure.
we could definitely help you out with your polishing needs. Big reason why we offer the services right now. If you were to curb rash your rim or anything like that, it's quite a bit of a process to get that repaired.
Yeah.
It takes about 2 weeks to, send it back to the manufacturer, unmount that rim from the tire, and it's a whole process involved. So versus a guy like me that could kind of show up and knock it out in a few hours.
So you do
it's a
that whole
big
thing from
plus.
A to Z just in a few hours, really?
Yeah, depending on how bad usually the curb rash is, but the main thing I guess what we try to do is versus other guys that kind of go in right and get aggressive to where the rash is. We try to maintain the integrity of that lip
Right.
the best that we can. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you don't have any dips or
Right. You don't want that
waves in that
rippling or
lip.
that bubbling or whatever that happens sometimes.
Yeah, so that's really what sets our kind of service apart a little bit, that we kind of pay attention more to the extra
Sure.
detail like that. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, it's recent, this explosion of billets and forged wheels over the past few years, so they don't really know how to maintain those wheels yet. So, yeah, a guy like me comes in handy
Do
to
you
kind of know.
see, on the lifted end of it, we got into the lifted end of it on the retail, like on the show level. Wasn't until really 2018. Daytona 2018 was probably the first year that we kind of tiptoed into it. With 2019, kind of like, okay, fine, let's just take a crack at this and show the community what we have and what we can do. It just seemed like there were a lot more like bright polished forged wheels back then than there is now. Are you seeing more of the powder coating that like, and what do you do? Like, is that basically just strictly you don't ceramic coat those? I mean, so like what you just
No, I mean, you do see more of the people going the powder coat route, stuff like that. You can ceramic coat those to protect those a little bit more, but I definitely recommend against doing any ceramic on billet or forge.
on billet, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just because it's a great weather protectant, but you still won't be able to get away from the oxidation of the sun.
Sure.
So it'll still fade out, it'll still oxidize, and then you won't be able to maintain and polish that wheel out anymore.
Right.
You'll have
So
to
you
sand
have,
the
you have to
coating off.
sand that off, basically.
You have to sand that coating off, and some of the more professional ones are pretty thick on
Oh,
there.
that's a lot of work, man. No
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah. So
Hey, so what's Marco's future? You staying mobile, or like you have like dreams one day of having your own type of like permanent like storefront or something like that?
no, I actually polish out of a few shops. So I polish out of a shop in Riverside and out in the LA area.
Oh, okay. So
I-
somebody can say, hey, you can tell somebody come to the shop and I can take care of it for you there. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I tend to stay mobile a little bit more just for my semi guys, just because it's a little bit more efficient to kind of
Just go there and get it
spend the
done.
money on diesel
Yeah.
and then your time, and usually those are days or 1-2 day projects, so
Sure.
it's a little bit more convenient to kind of go to the yard and have
Is a
your
lot
own
of that
setup.
polishing done on a weekend, or I mean, are your weekends like not yours anymore? How does that work?
I am usually available more on the weekend, but usually I'm a month or more out on appointments on
wow,
that.
okay.
So
We were
they're
like,
super popular just because that's when everybody's has their downtime, and so usually I'll take a day off during the week.
I
when it's
gotcha,
a little
okay.
bit easier for me.
Like a little quiet day sometime midweek or something
Yeah.
like that. Hey, so you're tied into a lot of the truckers in the scene locally, and trucking obviously has been in the news in one way or another. Like, what do you see going on? It's like what's happening out there? Like, why are there so many like shortages of truckers and issues with trucking? What are you hearing on the street?
Well, I mean, just depending on the issue, what it is, but I think what really is you've seen a lot of positive stuff too. You know that the truckers are kind of realizing what their worth are. You know,
Sure,
in
yeah.
America too, and mobile and using that voice to kind of influence certain issues. So yeah, I mean, I see it as kind of a positive thing. There's always going to be a shortage because the backlog and what kind of COVID did to kind of all that stuff shipping. So
Yeah.
I feel there's always going to be a shortage, but it's one of those industries where trucking stops it. Nothing kind of happens in America,
There's so
unfortunately.
much trucking that goes on; it's unbelievable. And even to this day, I hear that there's still like massive shortages of actual truck drivers. We just can't get enough guys and gals behind the wheel anymore.
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy job. A lot of people think it's just
You just
sitting
driving,
behind and holding a steering wheel or
Yeah.
something, but there's a lot more that kind of goes
Oh,
into
yeah,
it behind
no,
the scenes,
definitely.
and
Yeah.
you are, main thing is you're away from your family
You're
a
away
lot,
from your
so
family for so long. Yeah, we deal
yeah,
with several
so
people like
it's
that.
certainly not for everybody.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. We did last year. We won't do as many shows this year, but last year we probably did, I don't know, 23 or 24 shows. So and I'm the show guy, so I was gone almost every other weekend. And now it's just a freaking weekend where I'm leaving on Thursday or Friday and coming back home on Sunday. Imagine being gone for a week or two at a time. That's just very, very taxing on on a relationship with your wife and with your family. You miss a lot of what goes on.
Right.
Some of them are out on the road during Christmas or Easter or any of the major holidays, birthdays, school events, and it's just I think a lot of just truckers don't get that respect and the benefit of the doubt for what they do for the country. Honestly, so much of what we have in our homes and our offices are a direct relationship to somebody moving it around.
Yeah. And also, in a sense, I'm glad to kind of see, them kind of having their voice and stuff like that. It's a good thing to
for
see
sure.
positive for
And
everybody.
I think we'll see some of that coming out at the show later on this month. I think there'll be a lot. I think there'll be more voices that'll be heard, and I think showcasing that. And we're a media company. We make stuff for a living, but working with our friends, our partners, people that we work with for media, I think allows us to highlight a lot of those people in the community that really step up and are involved in making things better for everybody. So we're gonna wrap it up. Do you want to talk anything like do you want to say anything more about your company or anything like that? It's like any plug. I tried to plug it a little bit.
No, I mean, pretty much everybody kind of knows the gist of it. We're a custom aluminum polishing company. We offer, anything from aluminum, stainless polishing,
Sure.
and we also offer ceramic
Right.
services as
Again,
well.
not just rigs. I mean, you'll take care of the billets as well out there.
Yeah. All you guys with the billets. Like I said, I know sometimes they're a challenge. So if you guys ever need any advice
Yeah,
or
totally.
services
Hey,
repair,
you know
we
what?
could definitely
I
take care of that.
I get a lot of DMs. It's like, hey, what do you recommend I need to polish my such and such? And the first thing I say is like, find yourself a local professional. And
Yeah.
if you don't have one local, or if you insist on doing it yourself, then I'll recommend product. But I really feel like I mean, I don't know if I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying, hey, look for a professional first. But I really think that if you obviously have the wherewithal to hire a professional to do the job.
Right.
Like I don't do my own plumbing.
No, I mean it is a technical
Yeah.
skill, to kind of
Yeah.
apply. And at the end of the day, these wheels are a soft metal, so you can damage them
You
if
sure
if,
can.
if you don't approach it
Yeah,
the right way or
totally.
with the right tools. So definitely, reach out and seek some advice before you
All right,
take a
awesome.
machine to it.
All right, Marco. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at Matt's here in a couple of weeks. All right.
Yes, sir. All right,
Take it
thank
easy. Get
you.
ready for a fun time.
Can't wait.